those. But when we start looking at those two sites together, since they are adjacent, we felt like that creates a better site and may help the ranking on these. And you can see over on the left, this is our summary. This is our overall ranking, just kind of combining those colors, getting an average. So you can see 1 and 2 ranked fairly good in terms of having some blue. Site 3 ranked well. Site 5 ranked well. Site 6 ranked very well. So we wanted to carry those sites forward. And we started looking at how we might tie some of these together to make the sites work better. So we linked 1 and 2. We also linked sites 3, 5, and 6, which all rank tied, which are the Santa Fe Station, Bricktown lot north of Reno, the Bricktown site south of Reno. If we look at those as one contiguous site, we may not need all that area, but it improves accessibility. It might improve the civic presence and so forth. So we're looking at those three together in terms of really combining those three to study as one site, to really test it to see how it functions. And then the committee also felt like that the lumberyard site here really ought to remain in consideration. And it ranked okay, it ranked good, although it wasn't, didn't have any blue in it. But we felt like there may be some ways to mitigate some of those concerns, and that might also give us the opportunity that if some reason we can't bring high-speed rail through downtown, we could bring it up to this location and bring it into Site 8 and then continue on down along the I-40 corridor to get back onto the railroad right-of-way where it can connect back here. So as we carry that forward, the plan was to look at how that might work, how it might integrate with Site 8, and that gave us one site a little bit further to the south to study at a little higher level of detail. So this essentially brings us down to the three sites, which are described here in a little more detail. This is showing 1 and 2 together. I think the context is self-explanatory here. So that gives us some connectivity to Main Street here in terms of follow pedestrian access. It brings us up to this railroad corridor. Maybe we even need to jump the railroad corridor and connect to 2nd Street, which might even further improve it. It gives us good connectivity to the rail corridor. And another advantage of this site we haven't really talked about is we have a very large parking structure, the Santa Fe garage here, that might help provide some parking capacity, particularly if we are going to accommodate high-speed rail here. We may need more parking, and that's something we'll be working on as we move forward, is what are the requirements for parking for high-speed rail. The next one showing 3, 5, and 6 together, also considering the fact that we can connect 3 to 5 by going under the railroad right-of-way. This is the canal. The existing pedestrian tunnel actually comes out right at the canal, so maybe we could even add another boat here and have gondolas on the canal that connect here, something like that. But it gives us the opportunity to penetrate this elevated right-of-way, if you will, and maybe punch some more holes in it to make that connection work between Site 3 and Site 5 and improve the pedestrian connectivity between Bricktown and downtown, which now is limited just to the street crossings. And then we obviously, Site 6 might wind up being parking or something for the facility, but we'll see how that all lays out in the future. But it gives us quite a bit of flexibility to kind of play with this site and see how all the functions really fit here. Because one of the concerns we had at Site 3 is that it might not accommodate everything.
And Allan, there's also that area south of 3 that we really didn't get into, that we talked about later. That could be part of that.
This here?
Point that out.
This parking lot? Yes, that's true.
You would want to include that.
Good point, yeah. And then last, the lumberyard site, which would be south of the future boulevard. Some of the concerns on this site were automobile access. This would only be one-sided, so we'd have to look at how we mitigate that. This is an old freight siding here that essentially could accommodate the high-speed rail turnout. So maybe the high-speed rail station is down here or over here, and we use that site to connect